Okay. Hello, everyone. I can hear myself. So, we are going to be talking about the book Greek Religion by Walter Burkert in just a minute. I am just chilling in the VC, waiting to see if anyone's going to be popping on today. If not, I've got a bunch of really cool quotes and things I want to talk about for the subjects, the sections that we're supposed to be reading. And actually, we're about like 3/4 through the book, so I'm like really excited actually. Not 3/4. I'm sorry, 1/3 through the book. The exact opposite of what I said. Um. So yeah, let me just wait here for a minute, and then we'll see what's up. We'll be right back. Okay, everyone. So I'm just gonna give a second. We have some people popping in the stream. So, we're, wait, I can hear my own voice. Ah. So I'm just gonna refill my drink, and now's a good time for you to refill your drink if you need one, until we get started. So just give us a couple more minutes, and we will be on fire, cooking with gas. All right, happy Friday, everybody. I'm just gonna make sure everyone's ready on in the stream for talk on the stream, and then we'll just get started. So let's see here. We're going to close this. Put that so you guys can see that. I wonder if I can make it so that it's not that. Oh, I know how to do that. Why didn't it show? There we go. Might be too small. Hold on. There we go. Maybe those might be too big. Yeah. I like to do it so that you guys can see a whole page. At least most of one. There we go. Alrighty, and let me just make sure that we have here. Oh look, we got someone else popping in while we were hey! I'm just making sure all this stuff is set up so everyone can see it. You're not on stream yet, though. I think I spelled his name right. Walter Burkert. Yeah. Alright, you guys ready to go on stream? Oh, shoot. Hi, you guys couldn't hear me. Are you guys ready to go on stream? Cool beans. Oh, do I just call you Legend, by the way?
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Alright, so we were going to read sections 2.3 through 2.6 or 7. I don't think we're going to get to... I feel like Aphrodite is going to be a big one, because there's a lot about Aphrodite. So that would be 1, 2 of... I think we're like a third way through the book at this point, actually, which is pretty cool. So let's see, we did Zeus and Hera and stuff last time, Poseidon, and we did Athena, I think, too. Did we do Athena?
Did we do Athena?
No, Athena is what we're reading. Athena, Apollo, and Artemis. So, same thing as last time. I was like, we'll just skip the parts where it's the retelling of the myths. If you have commentary stuff on it, yeah, but we're not gonna read the myths because those are long. But there's a lot in here. Okay, and do you guys have the Greek Religion by Walter Burkert Google Doc up, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Let me make mine bigger because I'm stinking blind. Oh, I also put makeup on. I should probably show my face. Hold on. Wait, I just hope no one laughs at me because I have laundry in the background. Actually, no, I didn't see it. Ah, look, here I am. Booyah. In the little corner there. So you guys have the doc up. Okay.
Wow, I like your hair.
Thank you. You know, I've been getting a lot of compliments on it lately. I think the purple came out, but everyone's saying, like, no, it really shines. And I'm like, all right. Okay, so I also have my timer because we have 3 people to go through. Athena, Apollo, and Artemis. So I'm going to put it on for 20 minutes. Wait, let me clear it off. I love this timer thing. I highly recommend these. These are really great for, like, you know, just selling shit that I don't get paid to sell on stream. It's a really good timer. It's a 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20, and 30. All right, here we go. 20 minutes. Athena. Like, we couldn't talk about her for, like, an hour. So I copied out the different names for Athena because I never know any of them. Except for Attic Athena and Palace Athena. I knew that one. Did you guys have anything in regards to, or I guess Greek Mike, did you have anything in regards to like the names of Athena that it talks about in the etymology in like the first chapter, first section, first paragraph? I mean,
Yeah, I think it's interesting that there's a debate over whether or not the city got its name first or the goddess got her name first.
I literally put that in the notes, and I was like, yeah, I didn't know that, and that was interesting, but it makes total sense. Like, which one is it, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
And I don't. What do you think?
I don't know. Like I think the name was inspired by like a divine item, a divine concept, and therefore the goddess inspired the name. But
I agree. I think it's the goddess inspiring the name of the city, and it actually goes with one of the myths too. That it was Poseidon and Athena, and they had like a little contest, which they do go over in this chapter actually. And just legend, just so you know, we're on page 198 at the bottom. If you have the PDF open.
Alrighty. Thank
Cool
you.
beans. You're very welcome. What do you think? Do you think it was the goddess inspired the name of the city, or do you think it was the city that inspired the name of the goddess?
Okay, so I haven't read the book yet, but I think the city came first, because
Oh.
like I think Greek Mike brought up the myth, and I was kind of thinking about it, and like someone probably like came up with an explanation as to why it's called Athens, So I feel like the city came first.
That makes sense too. They were trying to come up with like an explanation as to why we. I could totally. If someone came and asked me why did you name it Hellenic Herald, I would be like, it was a thing. It's a long explanation, and I might want to find a shorter one. So I could definitely see them doing that. Let's see. I love that they compared Athena being called Palace of Athens and Palace Athene to Hera of Argos and Hera Greek Mike, help.
get out of here.
I love how you sit there and just watch me suffer. You're like, I'm just gonna wait until she asks for help, and I'm like, help me, I'm drowning
gotta
in
let you
words.
try first.
Help me, I'm drowning in vowels. But I thought it was really cool because later on they kind of shit on their relationship. I didn't quite get the emblem and armor of Athena is the Aegis. Of course, I always forget what that word means. So.
It's like a shield.
Oh. Why did they just say shield? Like I know it's the correct word, but they could put in parentheses for us layman's. Okay, so Aegis is. I swear every freaking chapter has like 30 vocabulary words. If this was a course in college, I would be losing my mind. Shield. All right, I put it down. I love that this is whenever she raises her Aegis, her enemies are overtaken by panic and soon are lost. Like, and it says it's the goat skin. The Aegis, as its name tells, is a goat skin. A special goat sacrifice forms part of the Athena cult in Athens. So it's a different spelling, Aigis, but it's the same word. So that was a little confusing to me. Do you think it's the same thing? Like they're talking about like the shield as a cover of goat skin, or is this a different thing? Let me see if I can find it in the text actually.
I think it's just the way they're spelling it is different. I think it's the same thing.
So then where does the goat skin come in? Because I did not quite understand that. I'm gonna be honest.
I think it's like what covers their shield.
Oh, so you think it's like like a... Oops, I hit my drink. like almost like a sheath for like a sword, but it's a thing for the shield.
Think so. I'm not sure.
Well, of course, none of us are sure, but that's a really good idea. Um. Oh, hold on. Let's see. I had. Let me scroll down. The intervention. I only had like a couple notes on this, so before we go further, Greek Mike, did you have any thoughts on Athena? Where is that? Something with the wrong one. That's why I couldn't find it.
Nah, not to tap too much into the mythology of it, but the one thing that I always found interesting is and it's commented on from like I actually read the Walter F. Otto book, which is controversial because he was technically a Nazi, but
Ew. But
it
we do
was one of
separate
those
the work from
it was
from
one
the
of those
author.
things where he was how should I put this? He was so to give the context of why I would read something by a Nazi, he was like in charge of prior to the Nazis' rise to power, he was in charge of like the Department of Classics in Germany. So he was pretty much just like forced into the party. It wasn't like he was it's not actively of it, but you have to keep that in mind when you read his
Yeah,
books out
I
there.
agree. A lot of people were forced. It was either death or Nazi. A lot of people were between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, but I read one of his books and they talks more about Athena and that. Um, but I will say that you could tell there's a lot of sexism, which
Well,
is expected from someone like that. So
well, there's also even within Athena herself, there was that duality of the masculine and the feminine, being that she's a
exactly.
goddess of war as well as goddess of weaving and tapestry. And if you want to see more about that, you can visit the altar in our Minecraft server. Not altar, the temple in our Minecraft server, which has a beautiful display of all the different sides of Athena, which I believe you made, didn't you, Greek Mike?
No, that was not me.
Oh, that was not you. Who was it? It was Cry. It was Cry. I remember. I'm not a bad person. I remembered. um, but yeah, it does a very nice job of showing all the different sides. And but yeah, there is that extreme duality to Athena. Oh, and apparently she's also the goddess of carpenters. I was like, what? Because I guess she made the chariot for the horse. I actually wanted to copy this out. And I was like, it's very interesting how the gods overlap so much. You know? Like, wouldn't carpentry fall under Hephaestus, but technically it falls under her? But also Hephaestus?
Yeah, you would think, right? Because it's like crafting.
Yeah. I mean, it could be both, too. And I feel like... Okay, so I feel like the gods are like, okay, we're going to manage this planet and these people. But, like, you know, we don't... We're busy. We're gods. We're busy. We do god things, right? Whatever. And they're like, okay, can we just have some overlap so, like, just in case I'm busy, like, Hephaestus can get it? And I'm like, that's how I feel it's done. Like, there's, like, this overlap. I think it's, like, on purpose. So that no, like, everyone's covered. Everyone's got a, you know, backup person. If you will. If I may oversimplify this. Because it feels like that with people covering other people's turf. Like Athena covering carpenters and a little bit with horses because she like helped construct like the wooden horse. This highlight is terrible. So that's
I've
really
also
cool.
heard. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I've also heard the take that different gods may have like an overlap of like whatever domain they cover, but it's like in different aspects of that certain thing, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting take.
Yeah, I think that again, I love the duality and the just how much they cover each other. It's always been really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Also, hi Fish Fry, welcome to the stream. What path are you on? What's your pantheon?
I am fish fry.
Oh, you are fish fry.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm like, I don't know. Awesome. What is your path, by the way? You know, we didn't actually introduce you, so like, say hi.
Hi. I'm Legend or Fish Fry. I've been a Hellenic polytheist for over 3 years, and I mainly worship Hermes.
I have a shrine for Hermes, like, literally behind me. Hold on, let me look at the stream for like 5 seconds. Where are we? Okay, literally. Nope, this way. That one right there. That's Hermes' shrine. He's got his, and then Hades is on top of the, and then Dionysus is on top.
I love how they're like on the wall. I've never seen something like that before.
I love corner shelves. I'm addicted to shelves. I love corner shelves. I think corners are undervalued. Real estate on the walls, and I have like 4 corner shelves all around the house. I apparently have like 5 altars around the house, and I have no idea how that happened. It just happened. I was like, I didn't intend, but there's like 2 Grecian or Roman pillars in my house. I think my religion took over my life. I'm okay with it. And I mean, they do take over. They take over each other's tasks. They take over, you know, cities and protect them. And why not my shitty apartment, eh?
Right.
I also wanted to point out that there's Panthea, and we need to do better things for Panthea. Panathenea. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
We got when I forgot when that is, but we gotta do something for that. Let's see. I didn't put page numbers down, so now I'm lost on my own notes. And of course, there's been a lot of cults for Athena. There's been cults for a lot of the different gods. Here, let me put this back down. Fixing that camera. There we go. There's been cults for a lot of the gods, and I'm not surprised because, as we talked about, that, you know, with Athens and Athena, there's different patrons for different cities that are like the primary patron, like, you know, Poseidon for a coastal town, right? So, anyone have any comments on the cults of Athena?
Not specifically on the cults, but I did like a skim through of like Wikipedia, and so Aegis with a, I was still thinking about this like topic. I'm sorry, but Aegis with an E, I think, is the shield, and then they also say like Aegis with an I is a goat skin, and apparently Athena wore like draped animal skin across her shoulders.
Since you're in the notes, would you mind putting that in there?
Yeah, sure.
Well, now, I mean, I never thought of Athena being a fur lover, but I mean, battle, that makes sense. I wonder if her and Artemis get along now. I love that they said Athena doesn't carry her weapons without reason. Like, I love that. Okay, so not to get political, but I have opinions about guns and weapons. Particularly that if you hold a weapon with someone that, like, if you're grabbing a weapon, you got to be ready to use it. You're not just brandishing it, right? It's for a purpose. And I love that they said that about Athena, that she doesn't carry weapons without reason, because of course we also know she's the goddess of wisdom. So, I'm going to shut up and see if you guys have any opinions on that.
No, I strongly agree with that weapon comment.
Me too.
So my boyfriend is, he was a scout in the army, or military, and he has a few guns, and he was always like, gun safety, blah blah. And I was like, honey, if I was gonna kill a person, I would shank him to death. Like I'm gonna need the guts to like do this. Like it's gonna be like it's a me or them situation, and I love that aspect because it goes like this sentence really reminded me of that, and it goes hand in hand with the wisdom aspect of you don't always need to use weapons. It's only when you have good cause. And I think that goes with not just weapons but our words, because our words have value and meaning, and we should be cautious and conscientious of them. And there's my TED Talk for the day.
I like that. I thought that was interesting.
Thank you. I try. So, okay. I love the line on that same paragraph that was that she stirred up courage in the hearts of warriors. So what do you guys think about, we haven't gotten to Ares, but the Athena versus Ares perspective on war? Because actually, I don't think that this section on Athena covered that at all. So, thoughts?
I think Ares is like more of the brutal, like violent aspects of it, but Athena is more of the strategy.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like, for me, I go to Ares when I'm like, we're gonna burn the shit down. Like, get that passion and fire and like, fuck this shit, I have no more shits to give. Like, we're done. Just, but Athena's the one who's like, chill. They will fall on their face. They will realize they were assholes. And it's cool. Or, just where to verbally stab. We don't encourage violence that much. Yeah, but I feel like Ares is like the passion, and Athena's the reason and the how to strike aspect. So I totally agree with you guys, and I love her for it. Let's see. And I didn't put this in the notes because we all know about the olive tree, but any notes on like the olive tree or the wool working that was on like page like 200-ish? Because I didn't really put those as notes, but she was obviously a patron of a little bit of crafting and wool working, and apparently, as we learned, carpentry. I'm throwing it to you guys.
Does it ever like explain the like I guess cultural significance of her being like kind of having the domain over like some crafts? Because I remember learning about that, and it never really made sense to me because she does all this like tactical war stuff and then also wool working, and so I don't know.
I have personal opinions on that, but 200, it has, it's like the third paragraph from the bottom. It says, such primitive ferocity is balanced, which makes sense because wisdom, is balanced by her concern for peaceful handicrafts, especially the work of women at spindle and loom. Athena Aragne? Mike?
I think so.
Ergani. Say it again.
Ergani.
Ergarne?
Yep.
I feel like I added an extra R, but Athena is the inventor and patroness of woolworking, of the glorious handicrafts which constitute such an important part of domestic property and pride. She even works with the spindle herself. For her, the women of Athens weave the peplos, which we've talked about, which is handed over at the Panathenea festival. All the same, I just had an amazing idea, you guys. I'm going to say it at the end. Handed over at the Panathenea festival. All the same, the scenes worked into a robe are generally of battle with the giantesses. Athena is also the goddess of carpenters. That's where she talks about the wooden horse. I think that with wisdom comes balance. Okay, so I'm
Right.
33 now, and I have decided that I have 0 fucks to give for bullshit. And I think that's where my wisdom came in, because honestly, I was always giving more than I had to people, and I super burned out, guys. So if you see me slow or missing streams or whatever, it's because I burned out on other things. But part of that wisdom is not fighting, is finding peace and doing something that isn't as warrior-like. And if warriors kill and destroy, the opposite of that would be to create. Philosophical moment here. I feel like I went deeper than I thought it was going to go. But I think that's why that is.
I like that. That makes sense. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah. And then there's also the aspect, if you guys, are you guys into sewing?
I love sewing.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Right. So if you fuck up a stitch, right? It's really hard to undo, is it not?
Right.
Right. So you have to be cautious and plan out where you're gonna put your needle, right?
So true.
Right? You
Right.
can't undo it, and like if you cut it, I cut a t-shirt today, by the way. I had a t-shirt, I like the back better than the front. And I was like, I'm gonna turn it around, but it was choking me. So I was like, and it was the worst cut, you guys. It's terrible, but it's okay. It's a night shirt. I'm sleeping in it. Doesn't matter. But once I cut it, and actually the reason I ended up cutting it was because I was trying to pop the stitches, and I ripped the shirt like right here on the shoulder. So I was like, guess we're cutting it, because I couldn't undo it. I did what I did, and I fucked it up. Right? Like, you can't undo that stuff. I would also just like to show everyone my current desktop, because I am swimming in Dionysus right now, and I'm loving it. Display capture. It's... Wait. I present to you my screen. And then I have another one, which I don't know why this happened. I mean, I have my background's on rotation, so there's that. But I'm swimming in Dionysus right now. Like, he's like, hey, I like your book club. All right, I just thought that was funny.
Always a good thing.
Great art of Dionysus. Great art. There's so much great art of our gods online. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't undo our stitches or anything. So I think that falls into the wisdom aspect of when. And how do you feel when you're sewing?
I feel really calm.
Right?
Just making clothing in general is just like, it's kind of like a trance. Like, you kind of like, I lose track of time because it's so fun.
Yeah, I get very zen when when I'm frosting cakes, which I very much enjoy doing. People have birthdays, so I can please let me send you cakes or cupcakes. Jesus, I want to bake because it's so calming, and so I feel like that with the it gives you that peace before the battle. There's my philosophical talk. All right, is there anything else around Athena that we want to like talk about? I'm just gonna scroll down. There's a bunch of the stuff with Zeus, particularly the double birth story, which is it seems to be a repeating theme. And I love that they're like, the birth myth is as popular as it is puzzling. I love that. And they do go into some information on Panathenea, which I think I would like to copy here later. Yeah, but that's all I got. Shall we move on to Apollo?
Yes.
Awesome. You're excited for Apollo. All right, Apollo, Menelaus, go.
I don't know where to begin. I guess the first sentence already says like he's the most Greek of the gods. Like he's definitely like
I
got his
totally
roots in
copied
Greece
that.
compared to other gods, where it's like Athena. They're like, yeah, they got the idea like from other gods in the Middle East that were like warrior goddesses, and
Yeah,
like Aphrodite obviously is basically Ishtar, and it was like well known as like basically Ishtar,
yeah.
and but like Apollo was definitely uniquely like a Greek invention, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, oh wow. And I love that they pointed out there's like the misconception as well about the statues. Um and it and we also have so many more vocabulary words like acme, kuros.
What else? Yeah.
Hey, if anyone else wants to volunteer for work, we'd like you to get all the vocabulary words out. We've had a lot of volunteers. Like Menelaus, I haven't told you yet. There's been some volunteers, which I'm thrilled about. Um, but yeah, we've got a lot of vocabulary words and like throughout this book as well. I love that they were saying that the worship of Apollo is like just like you said, he's uniquely Greek, but it's like he's like all over the place, and like they say, like he's spread throughout the Greek world and pervades. I love that word, pervades both the state and the private domain. It's like whether you want it or not, Apollo is looking out for you. Big Brother vibes. That he's there. I love it.
Yeah.
Let me. I can't get my. I think I have to reduce my my notes because I can't read it all. Then there's the occult of Apollo. I'm gonna. You seemed excited, Menelaus, so I'm just gonna let you lead. Is that cool?
Okay. Yeah, so
You
his
seemed
cult,
excited.
I was excited. No, so basically his cult's in like two separate spots. Um, and how like the most important spots for him are obviously where he was born in Delos, that island, and then the other
Yeah.
most important spot is Delphi, where he had his oracle. But it's really cool that his stretch basically came from Sicily all the way to the Sea of Azov, which is in Ukraine now. So very far spread.
I Yeah, I love that word, the pervades. It really describes that.
Um,
Like he's just all over.
but yeah, so that's exactly it. And then they talk a little bit more about like the history of like when the cult came, like because there's no evidence from him until like later on. Like he's definitely a more modern one, which may show the reverence for art that came about like in the same time period. So like having a god of art and music may have been a thing that like was important um for that later time period. So
Yeah, and I thought that was really interesting that he is a more modern god, but his domain or his worship, his cult, are spread so far, as opposed to some of the older, quote unquote Greek gods. I thought that was, and they were talking about Asia Minor, and for like 3 seconds I was like, I don't remember where that is. I had to go look it up
yeah,
to remind myself.
Asia Minor is Turkey. It's
That's really
basically.
cool. Um, yeah, he was just so far spread, and it actually says like they were found in many places. There's also, let me see. Yeah, here it says Apollo's cult is that it has two superior regional centers which exert nothing short of a missionary influence. I can just see people. Okay, I have to tell you guys a joke. When I first started and really got serious into Hellenism, I had these friends, and we were joking and stuff. So one day, I printed out pamphlets from Hellenion. I swear to you guys, I want to do this for every one of the gods. And I went over, I knocked on their door, and my friend answered, and I was like, "Would you like to hear? Do you have a minute to talk about our Lord and Savior Zeus?"
Mhm.
I can just see, because they use the word missionary influence. I was like, I can just see people being like, have you heard about Apollo? Because he's dope. I didn't see any reference to the muses, though. I was surprised about that. Did I miss that? At all? I don't know, Greek Mike, you
I didn't see that about them talking much about the muses here.
Yeah, I was very surprised about that. But they did mention that going back to the Minoan traditions, and the hymns, that's one of the things. And I love that they say it's an intimate connection between the god and the hymn. That's derived from the Minoan tradition, because I do think we all have very intimate connections with our deities. I thought the earliest temple was really cool, Menelaus. They talked about it being identified in Thermos, and
Yep.
it was center of annual gatherings. And there's actually a lot of festivals, a decent amount of festivals associated with Apollo as well. I'm looking at my notes. Any other thoughts on Apollo?
Does the book ever go over what makes Apollo so, like, popular? Or is it just, like, it just so happened to be that way?
I think, in my opinion, being the god of the arts was probably very helpful in communicating Apollo and his domain and all of that, because a lot of things were orally told, like a lot of storytellers. So if you got a god of music and you're a storyteller or a singer, like a bard, that's my thought.
Right.
That's my thought. Is that at all similar to what you might be thinking?
I think that's part of it, and I think also, like, you can't downplay, like, the two other parts of Apollo, which are Apollo as a healer, which is obviously very important, because everyone gets sick, everyone needs to heal, and then Apollo as a prophet. No, I guess not prophet, more like an oracle. A prophet is kind of this very specific other thing, and
Yeah,
generally not a deity, but
yeah, because the oracle stones, or the stones that I have with the Greek alphabet, a lot of it references back to Apollo.
yeah.
And so yeah, that is very strong influences there, 100%. I'm writing this in the notes.
I can do the note writing if you want, so you can focus on, like, the stream.
Please. Please and thank you. And actually we're working on teaser. We're working on maybe getting a craft night put together to make something for Apollo. I'm just saying. Very excited. Oops, I went too far. Let me see what else is here. So the number 7 associated with Apollo. Thoughts? Because it said in here, a special role of the number 7 in Apollo's cult must derive from Semitic tradition. Now, I don't know anything about Semitic tradition, to which she's going to Google the word right now. I should have done it earlier. Which is relating to or denoting a family of languages that include Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic. Oh man, I'm going to have to learn about my culture, aren't I? Shit. I'm Armenian, in case anyone wanted to know.
I don't think that's Semitic, though.
No, but actually my grandfather was like he was Arabic, he was Baha'i, and they all spoke Farsi and like 2 other languages.
That's cool.
Yay. So it's a specific ethnic, cultural, or racial group, meaning Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, and certain ancient language such as Phoenician, Akkadian. Those, I mean, look, IAN is like the ending of every Armenian last name. There it is, right there. Paulo likes Armenians, apparently. Joke. But yeah, it refers to a specific cultural, ethnic, or racial group. Um, but I thought that the number 7 was interesting because I know that in Baha'i tradition, the number 7 is interesting because it's on my grandfather's tombstone. So I was like, that's really interesting. I wonder why the number 7 is so important. And I don't think they said that. Let me actually find it just in case. Did you... Oh, not find. 7. Nope. Nope. Ooh, I'm gonna come back too far. Nope, still go. We'll get to it. There we go. Oh, still gotta go more. I just want to find the section so that we can look at it. There it is. It's the section that says, it's on page 206. Paragraph starts with the Dorian and Cretan traditions. It's like the last paragraph. And it says, the special role of the number 7 in the Apollo cult must derive from Semitic tradition. Bronze statues which found their way to Greece in not inconsiderable numbers during the Dark Ages represent not only and okay, so like it literally it just drops that in there and says nothing about it. Have you heard of anything like this, Menelaus?
No, I haven't.
That's weird. I think I want to copy that out and like put it in the chat and see what's up. See if anyone knows anything. I copied the section that had to do with the indoctrinating new members for the Aetolians?
Aetolians?
Yeah, that one. I'm trying to find it. I'm just gonna look for that word. While I'm looking for that, is there anything else that you thought about for Apollo? And either of you?
They covered a bunch of it.
Legend?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I don't really know a lot about him, to be honest.
That's okay. We have bios in the Discord server. So if you're actually, wait a minute, hold on. Don't I have something here? Let me check something. Hold on. I have bios in the Twitch stream actually. I don't think they come out right because the formatting's an issue, but let me see. I'm gonna try it. Let's see. I don't think I have Apollo set up yet. It just it's a what do you call it? Like an action to make the automatic thing put a bio of the deity. We have a few. I haven't finished it. Good to know that's on the list of to-dos. But again, we've talked about how in detail this book goes about the festivals and stuff. So I love that they put in an important act on the occasion of the annual gathering, whatever, is admission of new members into the cult. I think, if that's and it goes into like how they would actually do the initiation. Which I thought was really interesting. I just copied that out, which is literally this paragraph right here. Let me see. Oh, the initiation of new cult members is the big paragraph right here up top.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to talk about the section that said, or this line, Apollo remains the god of afar. Man knows himself in his distance from the god. Any thoughts on that?
I think it's especially like true when you consider like how how he's associated with the bow, and what do you do with arrows? You shoot from afar.
Ooh, I like that.
You
I
know,
like that a lot.
I was thinking, but I was thinking the chariot and Helios. Because doesn't Apollo drag Helios' ass out of bed and up into the sky?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I crack myself up with shit I say sometimes. That is probably... Huh?
Oh, sorry. My bad.
No.
I remember I was like, no idea how, I was really young, and I was starting out with Hellenic polytheism, and I'm on Tumblr a lot. And if you don't know, on Tumblr they kind of, I don't want to say mischaracterize Apollo, but they kind of like woobify him, if you know what I mean.
Whatify him?
Woobify, like
What's
they kind of get they get his most prominent traits and then water the rest of him down. So instead of being like the god of like divination and plague, and he's just the god of music who is like a golden retriever.
You know, I gotta say, I feel like a little golden retriever energy for Apollo, but I feel like he's a little bit like, I know shit, and I'm look at my muse posse, and you know, I'm like, I feel like he has like an air about him, because and I do agree. I think a lot of places, and I don't necessarily have a big problem with this personally, because our gods are so multifaceted and complicated,
right.
and but it does, yeah. So what was
I'm
there more to that story?
Yeah, I'm getting somewhere. This okay, and I remember I was like obsessed, because I was like, oh my god, I want to be like the Tumblr people, and I kept like, you know, like when there's like someone annoying who like keeps pushing themselves into your personal square. You keep trying to push them away, but you can't really do that. Yeah. It got to the point where Apollo was like, stop, back off, and I was like, oh. And so I stopped. I felt really dejected, but I took a break for a while, and then I realized I think that helped me more than if he just said nothing and kept letting me get into his like his square, for lack of a better term. And so I learned more about myself. I learned the kind of like code of conduct, I guess. So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, well, that's the thing. If a part of a ball, if part, someone needs to go and clip all the times that I go make weird noises, because I can't talk. I really think that'd be a funny reel. But if Apollo's also the god of like Oracle, that makes total sense that he'd be like, I know what's happening with you, and you need to slow down. Like,
right.
Or you're gonna get burned out. You know?
Right.
And Apollo dragging Helios' butt across the sky, I bet knows plenty about burnout.
But
I love that you did it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so my boyfriend got a stream. It's the thing you push the buttons and it does shit. And I'm totally gonna make a sound.
That'd be cool.
Oh, like one of those
yeah,
soundboards.
Yeah, like the soundboards. Yeah, it's really small. It's got like 12 blocks, but I've been playing with it, and I'm just saying, I know this is not the best looking stream setup here, like, sorry, this side, but it's not bad, but it's about to get way better in a few months when I figure out how to use that thing, and actually set it up, because it's really cool. So we will get, okay, let's see. Yeah, and I feel like Apollo, like, let me ask you guys this question. Does it ever feel like Apollo's, like, putting his hand on your shoulder and being like, do this thing? Or does it feel like Apollo's like, Do the thing! That makes sense?
Yeah, more
Yeah, that
like
makes
do the
sense.
thing.
Yeah. That's why I liked the god from afar, because every time I think of Apollo, I feel like he's just like shouting at you from a little far away, do the thing.
Exactly.
And if again with the Helios and the sky thing, I feel like it's like a flyby instruction, like flyby divine intervention. It's the fast food of divine intervention.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I mean this with the utmost respect, I swear. They know, so that they don't get mad at me, I don't think.
Definitely not.
I mean, they do like to throw shit in my life, which is funny. I haven't posted about that in the server yet, but I will. I had 2 people do divinations, and they both came out with the same fucking answer. It was ridiculous. Cool. So, anything about Apollo, or should we go talk about Artemis?
I don't
Talk
have
about
anything
it.
else.
Awesome. Twinsies. Okay, Artemis. Also close connections with Asia Minor. I wonder why. Wait, where are we? There we are. Artemis.
Yeah, her big temple was in Ephesus.
Yeah, and I love that. Same as Apollo, because of course, twinsies. Those are the twins, right? Apollo and Artemis. I'm not fucking that up, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Twins.
Sometimes I doubt myself. I love that they also said Artemis not only enjoys one of the most widespread cults, but is also one of the most individual and manifestly one of the oldest deities. Manifestly there. And it's interesting because the etymology of her name is obscure, and they mention that, and that's really interesting because we have like Dio, which goes Dionysus, which goes like way back, and then we've got these more modern deities as well. The next one, as I said, her name appears among the gods of the Lydians, which I know nothing about, but I thought that was interesting and important to put down in the notes. And I love that they called her a mistress of animals. Like, not like it's a mistress of animals. Like, this is her domain. This is her house. I don't know. I just thought it was like an interesting way to reference her that I had not heard before. Can you would you mind saying that those words, the Potnia Theron?
Potnia Theron.
Potnia Theron. The wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Theron.
Theron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. So there's a lot about Artemis with wild nature, fish, birds, all that stuff. I just want to give an opportunity to discuss that before moving on to other things. If there's anything you guys have commentary on the animal and the... It's interesting because I hear the goddess of the hunt, but I've never heard the mistress of animals. I thought it was pretty cool.
I think that is interesting because this is my thought process anyway. Like while you're out hunting, you're kind of like submerged in the wildlife, and I kind of like that.
Just surrounded by it.
Yeah, and like I think it's cool that like fish and I guess like deer and stuff, things you find in the forest are not domesticated. Like they're just kind of wild and free. I like that.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Thank you.
I'm fucking muted, guys. I've been talking this whole time. Jesus. God damn. I was saying, yeah, that makes sense, and I was like, Menelaus, any thoughts? Before I read a whole paragraph. Or would you like to read a whole paragraph?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm on page 212. It starts with, in the Iliad, Artemis is called the mistress of animals. I just put it in the notes to, like, read that paragraph. Because I just thought it was very... it was very descriptive of her and her domain. Did you find what I'm referencing, Menelaus?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Shall you take it away?
Yeah, I could read it. In the Iliad, Artemis is called Mistress of the Animals, according to Theron. Obviously, a well-established formula, and this has justly been seen as a key to her nature. The Eastern motif, so beloved by archaic art, which shows a goddess, often with wings, standing between symmetrically arranged wild animals generally associated with Artemis. Bornea Theron is a mistress of the whole of wild nature, the fish in the water, the birds in the air, lions and stags, goats and hares. She herself is wild and uncanny, as even shown with the Gorgon head. Though she is gracious to the playful cubs of fierce lions and delights in the suckling young of every wild creature that roves in the field, she is also the huntress who triumphantly slays her prey with bow and arrow. Always and everywhere, Artemis is the goddess of hunting and of hunters. She's honored in a very ancient way where hunters hang the horns and skin of the prey on the tree, or else on a special club-shaped pillars. Without doubt, customs of this kind, as well as the very idea of the mistress of animals, go back to the Paleolithic. She's a very old goddess in that regard, I guess, is the big comment to say there. You want me to keep reading? I think you're muted again.
Fuck. This is why our streams are marked mature, because Victoria swears like a fucking sailor. That's perfect, and it was really cool that she goes back to the Paleolithic era, because that's, I don't know the eras in order, but the fact that she also goes back so far, which also makes sense because like Apollo, but I love the way that they described her domain here, and very specifically pointed out the different animals, and that she's fierce, but she also like delights in the suckling young of every wild creature that roves the field. Like, that's just like so sweet. I do love that they went and was like, Hera and her have a tenuous relationship.
Yeah, she is a daughter of Zeus.
Which, you know, has issues.
Artemis has a daughter with Zeus?
No, she is the daughter of Zeus.
She's the daughter of
okay,
Zeus and Leto, along with Apollo. So, you know, Hera wasn't thrilled. And we actually had a conversation about this on the server a while ago. Like a few days ago, I think. I don't know. Time is time. It's wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey. Please tell me someone got that reference. That's a Doctor Who reference. But we had a discussion on the server about Hera and Zeus and, you know, the issues and the kids and all that. And we had said that it is not so much that Hera dislikes the children of Zeus, but that she is the protector of the Olympian family. And she understands Zeus's role in creating more deities as the father of the gods, but she is very critical of those deities to make sure that they are up to par, you know? So I do love that it talks about that here a little bit, but not so much that she's like, I'm gonna kill Artemis, but like, in a battle of the gods, Artemis cuts a sorry figure in one impudent speech, and Hera grabs her by the wrists and boxes her out about the ears with her quivers. She hit her with her own fucking quiver. And you know, Artemis rushes off to be comforted by her father, and you know, leaving her mother Leto to clean up the mess. But it shows that, you know, Hera's not like, I'm gonna kill you. She's like, shh, get your shit together, woman. And ultimately, you know, Artemis was like, I'm gonna take all this shit. I'm gonna be mistress of animals. I love it. Is that what you got from this passage, Menelaus?
Yeah, that's about what I got.
Great, okay. Because I'm like, maybe I'm just being weird. This is very academic, and I try to make it less so. But I love how it's just so much in detail. I loved the fact that I've never heard this before. Artemis is therefore called Soundling. Keladine?
Foundling?
Yeah, it's page 213, paragraph. This became the defined picture of the goddess, and like 2 lines below that.
I just kicked my monitor by accident.
No worries.
Hold on.
This
All right, I got it
podcast is
back.
brought to you by Vita Coca coconut water. Refresh. I don't know. It's not. We're not sponsored, but I do love coconut water. My addresses are on the Google,
Caladine?
the YouTube.
Caladine? I don't know what that is. Caladine? Caladina?
Caladina? That sounds
The
right.
problem is they don't add the accents, and they don't write. If they wrote it in Greek, it'd be easier to figure out like how to say
Oh,
it. But
yeah.
it's just all. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand the sounding part. To be honest, I don't understand how that relates, other than that they talk about like not just hunting. I love that they talk about not just hunting, like dancing and playing, and like she's okay with this, and those are her nymphs, and they're just having a good time, like vibing. So I don't know. It didn't make sense, the sounding, except when they mentioned like the lyre, but So I just wanted to bring that one up. Let me see here. Any other thoughts before we get into the whole virgin goddess thing? Because that's going to be a thing. Awesome. All right, here's the disclaimer. We're going to talk about sexuality and stuff. Because Artemis. So. All right. Virgin goddess. Thoughts. Comments. I've got stuff in the notes.
Agnia comes in again.
Huh?
Agni comes in again.
Agni?
Yeah. Okay, but it was mentioned in an earlier chapter.
Oh.
And it means purity.
Oh, okay. Oh, I did spell it right. So, I love this line of it. For the virginity of Artemis, it is not asexuality, as it is with Athena's practical and organizational intelligence. Athena was just like, fuck relationships. I got books, which I can totally see. But Artemis is not that way, but a particularly erotic and challenging ideal. I feel like this says to me, the bitch has standards, and no one's met them so far. Like, thoughts?
Oh my god. I feel like this is just a product of the time. Like the like hard to get trope. She'd rather hang out in the forest than hook up with someone. It's just a little weird.
No, it might be, yeah. I can see there being an issue, not an issue, but like people having problems resolving, this masculine goddess of hunt, and then the female again following that whole, I love this word, juxtaposition. Same as Athena in a way, where she's the goddess of hunt, but she's also like protector of animals, but she's also handling this amazing bow. If anyone has ever physically been in the presence of like a real life bow, not like crossbow, but like a full bow, those shits are huge. My boyfriend just got one, like, I don't know, for shits and giggles, and it's massive. And apparently it also has to be sized to you, so you can't just go pick up someone else's bow. So I can see there being like, she's handling this giant weapon, and like she's so strong, but also womanly. And I can see them having problems reconciling those two.
Right. They just gotta make sure you realize she's a woman.
Yes.
She can be manly, but she also has to be desirable. So
I mean, frankly, if you're going out hunting every day and walking the forest, I feel like you're gonna be ripped as fuck. I'm just saying.
right.
Like, I can see them being like, wow, what a curvy woman. And she turns around, you see like her muscles, and you're like, oh my goodness, she could break me in half. I'm scared, but death by snoo snoo. You know?
I'm interested.
I know. I love Futurama. So, yeah. I really thought the phrasing, particularly erotic and challenging ideal, was interesting. But just as a play god is also a healing god, so the virgin is also a birth goddess. So, I thought that was an interesting... Yeah, that was a really cool...
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right? Thoughts? Open the floor. Oops. I rolled up too high. There we go. And she also protects, and women... It mentioned that... Let me scroll down in my notes. The piercing cry of fear from the woman summons her to hand, kind of like a what's it called? There's a special lady that comes and hangs out with you when you're like giving birth. Not a
midwife.
Doula. Midwife, yeah, like a midwife. That's what brought to my mind with that sentence.
Yeah. She is the goddess of midwifery, literally.
Yeah, and I love that it says, like, and she comes and brings release. Like, she's there helping you. You know? And I also love it says, like, right after that, there's no wedding without Artemis. Hers is the power to send and ward off dangers before and after this decisive turning point in a girl's life. I literally just got chills on my legs. Like,
can I say,
yes.
I'll need to find the photos, but I remember seeing photos of it was in a museum, and it was pictures of toys that little girls would offer up to Artemis before they got married, and I thought that was very interesting.
Actually, it mentions that. Shoot, where is it? It mentions that. For it talks about the sacrifices that are brought for Artemis during the festival for women, for girls who are getting married. It actually mentioned that in this chapter. I remember it. I'm not finding it, but I remember it. So yeah, they totally would. I don't know, but yes. And then I love this sentence. I think it's here actually. I'll just read it from the notes. The inviolable goddess is terrible and even cruel. Her arrows threatens every girl who fulfills her womanly destiny. Hera reviles Artemis with these words. Reviles? Yeah. A lion to woman, Zeus has made you, to kill any at your pleasure. A woman who died in childbed were direct victims of Artemis. Childbirth, basically. And basically that she's the protector of women, but she's also brings potential danger because a lot of women did die in childbirth. A lot of women still die in childbirth. It's not a talked about thing, if I can.
Yeah.
I learned so much of that stuff as an adult, and I'm so I grew up right with like people I knew, women I knew, teenagers getting pregnant, and I would always look at them and be like, that's such a responsibility to bear, and still so many in the world die during childbirth, and it's terribly sad. But I like the idea that it says here, you know, just that in itself could also be the same release that they're talking about. The piercing cry of fear from women summons her to hand, and she comes and brings release. And they don't specify what kind.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I wonder why. Like, I guess it's because she like watches over, I guess, birthing. But I wonder why back then they didn't just associate like dying from childbirth to like another time. I think that's a little interesting.
I think I have to say, in my personal practice, religion has done a lot for me. The gods have done a lot for me. And one of the things is I don't have that fear of death. Like, I genuinely don't. I'm good with it. Hades is in the corner, man. Like, so I wonder if they had a different idea or different thinking about death, because they had this idea that if we do these things, right, like follow the Delphic maxims and live in a pious way, that they were assured their spot. And I wonder if that made them less frightened of death. So to them, it
That
might
does
have
make
been a
sense.
release.
I remember like hearing about how chthonic deities weren't worshipped as much, and I just assumed that it was because they you know, death is scary to some people, but I'm not totally sure. So I was just like a little like, huh, you know.
Menelaus, I have heard that, I'm asking you specifically so you can correct me if I'm incorrect. There's this notion, I don't know if it's historically accurate, but I know that there's this notion within the community that if you say a deity's name enough, they are going to show up and bring with them whatever they will. So I wonder if the chthonic deities weren't honored because
Definitely
of that.
was the case, and that's why there was a lot of times where they would say Idoneos instead of Hades.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Wow.
And again, that whole interconnectivity thing, I love it. It's like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why they say release instead of death. Maybe.
Right.
And okay, have y'all watched Xena Warrior Princess?
Yes.
Fuck yes.
No. I don't know what that is.
Are you a bebe? Are you a youngin?
I mean, I guess, but I also spent an embarrassing long time thinking it was the 20th century because I was only allowed to watch stuff from that era. So,
I mean, well, you are sorely robbed. You should absolutely watch it. It's a fantastic show. It's very long, but it's funny how now I'm learning the educational and the historical aspects of the things that were portrayed in that show, to which my father joyfully told me, hey, I was watching It's just completely irrelevant. Well, I mean, I guess it is because it's Athena. So he was like, hey, you have like Athena and stuff, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I was watching the Xena Warrior Princess thing, and he's like, Athena wears glasses, and they didn't have those back then. And he's like, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, Athena's the goddess of wisdom. She would know how to make glasses. But in the series, right?
yeah.
In the series, there's an episode where Hades' sister, I believe, is captured. Basically, death is on hold. And there are people who are suffering. They are in sickness. They are viciously wounded, and they need to die. Like it is horror and hell for them to continue existing. And that death is a release to some people. It's not only a release, but it's a relief from the pain, from the suffering that they have to endure. And if knowing what I know now about childbirth, Jesus, that is something. sometimes. And I could definitely see that as a release as well, and as a way to protect women from the suffering that they could ensue if they survive. Because I mean, a lot of people did die very young, but then a lot of that was because of things like disease and stuff. So maybe that was not fun. Menelaus, I mean, interrupt me anytime if I'm talking like an idiot, by the way.
No, you're good.
Woo! I love my responses. Woo! Yeah, the last thing I noted in here was in a point of fact, Artemis is and remains a mistress of sacrifices, especially cruel and bloody ones. I didn't think of that, but like, it makes total sense being the goddess of hunters, because look, hunting ain't pretty.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Any other thoughts? I mean, they did talk about the nymphs very briefly. I wish they talk about them more, but I have to ask.
No thoughts from me.
Sorry?
I was just saying, no thoughts from me.
Menelaus?
Nope, nothing from me.
Okay, I'm gonna end this on the one thing that I laughed my ass off. The Orthena Festival. I love this so much. The flogging in the theater as an endurance contest before a tourist audience is, in this form at least, obviously an innovation of imperial times. The earliest sources point to a cult game in which one group or age group had to steal the cheese from Artemis's altar while others armed with whips defended the altar. They played, what's that game?
Capture the Flag?
Well, no? Yeah, Capture the Flag. Yes, I was thinking the other one, Red Rover. I was thinking Red Rover, but Capture the Flag is better. That's correct. That's more correct. I love that they play where they're like, we're going to play Capture the Flag with cheese and flogs. Or floggers.
Someone's going to get seriously injured, but it's all a part of the game.
I think a lot of people got seriously injured. I thought that was hilarious, and I was like, literally like, how can we do this in Minecraft? Gosh darn it. I'm trying to copy this one thing in here. I mean, thank you guys for joining. And I haven't looked at the chat at all. Astrid. No worries at all. Thanks for joining and always being an amazing, reliable Twitch mod, despite the fact that I never give you a calendar. I'm so terrible. I swear to God, we're gonna fix that. We're working on it. I'm working on it. And I'm almost done. I'll be out. Thanks. Well, actually, abadi, that's all, folks. That's all we got. So, I am delighted. I thought that was really cool, and I appreciate your commentary and your thoughts, Legend. And don't worry, you'll have time to catch up. So,
cool. Thank you.
And video capture. Okay, hello. You can see me giant now. I'm sorry. I just got in a Medusa pendant, and I'm not wearing it. So, but yeah, thank you guys. That's it. I got a sunset to catch. So,
enjoy.
Thank you, and may the gods bless all of you. And if you have anyone comes up with a better phrase than that for me, that's more off the tongue, I'm happy for it. But have a wonderful weekend, and we will be back here tomorrow with a Minecraft stream, and that's it. That's all I got. Let's do a raid on Twitch. I don't know who we're gonna raid. No one's on. There's no raid. Okay, goodbye everyone.